Chapter 12, the ending. I think it's going to shock us all. What's going on, guys? My name's Anthony, or Big B Stats, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about some Roblox Piggy predictions for Chapter 12, sharing a bit of my thoughts and theories, and going over the topic of the next map and Mr. P. Also, if you do enjoy the Roblox Piggy videos and predictions, remember to leave a like on this video and share it. It is much appreciated and shows your support for the channel. And also feel free to subscribe for the latest. And if you want to show your further support, you can always use star code BIGB2 when purchasing Robux. I want to appreciate everyone who has been using the star code and tagging me in it. I really appreciate you. But with that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So it's been a big roller coaster of a ride, I would say. A lot of twists and turns, a lot of theories, a lot of predictions, and we're closing in on the final chapter, what it appears to be. Now, before I get into saying, okay, this is chapter 12, this is the end of everything, I do want to let you know that chapter 12 is meant to have multiple endings, which is great because it now gives us that option of, you know, it's not really just one thing that we're going to be stuck with, but who knows if it's going to be, you know, kind of like one of those things like a good ending, a bad ending. I would love to see that. So if you choose the wrong thing, you get a bad ending, or if you choose the right thing, you get a good ending, or, you know, a happy ending and not a not so happy ending in that one. But I want to talk about Mr. P. I did promise I would talk about Mr. P and Cyborg as far as, you know, this Cyborg version we have of him, and exactly what this means. Now, my theory I did have, of course, that everyone's being replaced by robots, and I also think that this is not really Mr. P, but more of like a kind of like a storefront, shall I say. So it's like almost, it could have been like a clone version of him, and who's to say that all these animals and everyone's that's infected are not clone versions, or how many, like, imagine we go into this facility map, and if you haven't seen the facility map, I'm also not saying it's going to be a facility or a lab. It could be one of those two. I'll link it down below in the description. I'm just calling it a facility because I feel like this is going to be, it looked more like a facility, like going into, it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, a massive place, but it's definitely a place that looks like it's holding something inside, whether it be potions, whether it be, you know, the mystery behind everything. If it is a lab, then I can 100% think there will be potions being shown in this one. And we haven't seen really potions in maps in a very long time. So yeah, with that map being revealed, I do think that we will find out, you know, who and why, you know, everything is happening. And the one thing I wanted to talk about was the Cyborg Mr. P and his hand. If you notice his hand, it's kind of like all metaled out, and it almost looks like, at a glance, at least from the cutscene, it did look like a key. Now that's not 100% confirmed that it is a key, but if that is a key, then maybe that could be used to also unlock something. I mean, you also have to think, like, why would his hand be like that if it's not really, let's say, a weapon? Then why would it be that way? But it also reminded me of Roby. Like, I try to compare the two arms with Roby. Roby has almost like a chainsaw on Roby's hand, whereas Mr. P, you know, the hand kind of looks like it could be like a small cannon, or again, at some angles, it did look like a key. I know there's a couple maps online that also did do like custom reviews or custom, you know, versions of Cyborg Mr. P, and they kind of had the hand look like a key as well. So if this is a key, if this is something that's going to be used to be behind something, let's say a vault, not the vault in chapter 10, but a bigger vault, let's say that has, you know, everything in it, or where people are being held, that could be something that could also be used. But I really can't wait to play this chapter. I think it's going to be incredible. And again, I definitely think there's going to be the potions here, or either we're going to see Bunny or Doggy, and maybe we will have to make a big decision as well during this chapter. But what I want to do is I want to take to the comments and see what you guys think about Mr. P, the key arm, and also what you think about this chapter 12 in general, and again, your thoughts on everything. So let's get ready to take it to the comments. This first one is by Wolfie, and they said, I kind of think that George is going to help them to not get infected, but something about this is kind of making me think that George might turn into infected on the ending, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, about Mr. P arm, I feel like it is a key to something that has to do with chapter 12. I can imagine that Mr. P is going to open something with his arm and looks like a key, and all I can say now is I have a lot of predictions for chapter 12. See, that's the thing, like, again, this arm could be useful. I'm thinking if this isn't going to be a character that we're going to use where it's going to be animation to take people out, I think why wouldn't it just be just a robotic arm? I think it would definitely be used for something, and if so, maybe to open up something. That's if it's a key. Rafaela says Mr. P's arm is a key to his vault of potions for the infected. It's Monica says, theory, the picture looks like a bit of a lab. Now this is pertaining to the lab picture that we have, lab/facility of chapter 12. So the picture looks a bit of a lab entering, so it could be Mr. P's lab. Some stuff we pick up might be potions, and we could put it in to get the white key. Other theory is that Mr. P might have those tubes that keep the infected in. He might have an infected army with him. So who's to say, like, again, if you guys never seen like iRobot, like the movie, there's a scene where there's a bunch of robots like in this, like, you know, in this place, like where they're making them. And yeah, what if we run into something like that inside of this lab? Florence Butcher says the theory is the next map is a dig site sort of thing because of the Mr. Bull skin. So if you didn't know, we are getting a Mr. Bull skin, which we did a video on that as well, so make sure to check that out. He said that would make the most sense. I think that the dig site is a laboratory for Mrs. P, and Mr. P is forced to live there because they are married. And Mr. P is secretly trying to make potions to cure the infected. Also, I think Mr. P thinks Mrs. P's good, and when Mr. P gave Bunny that potion, that it is actually Mrs. P giving it to Mr. P to give to an infected, and Mr. P couldn't tell the difference at the time. Sorry for the long theory. I love your videos. That's not a long theory. There was a lot of, you know, tongue twisters in there, but very good theory. Sukanya says, I think it might be a lab because Mr. P has given out potions, and potions were made in the lab. So yeah, and keep up the great work. So again, maybe this is the place where the cure is being funded, though, to be fair. So maybe, like, again, this could totally be the place. Gabby Lewis says, please pick me. I've never been picked. My theory is George was behind all of this, and he switched to the good position with the bad potion and makes everyone blame it on Mr. P. And at the end, you find George acting strange, and you say, George, what happened? Then George says, looks like you've never found the real beast. Then you say, George, did you sabotage the potions? And George says simply, yes. I was just acting, and you've just helped me rule the world. And you have to battle him and end up to get the right potion. Then Zizzy and Pony come, and then you say, we heard everything, and then it was all a dream, and you wake up in your bed. Imagine if it like just resets, like everything happens and it just resets from chapter 1. Wow. Jacob Diaz says, it might be a lab, or we could find Bunny. LOL. What happens about Doggy? I don't know. Hopefully we get some more information about Doggy as well in this. Evan H says, I think it's Mr. P's lab. It's probably going to be the boss battle. You and Mr. P will fight. During the fight, Bunny and Doggy might come back to help you, and Mr. P is dead. You will get the cure, and everything will be back to normal. Hope you like it. So I really hope that, like, it's also been changing a lot too. I know when we first really discovered that Mr. P was evil, if Mr. P is actually going to be this boss that we're fighting, I'm thinking it's going to be someone else. It's Lil Wolf Girl says, my prediction theory, I feel like the bot is going to be 3 bots, and the one is going to be Mr. P, Mrs. P, and the scientist, and it's going to be a very big map. We will spawn in the escape doors front, and there's going to be Mrs. P bot and the scientist bot in the scientist room. By the way, have some cookies. So yeah, maybe this episode will be more robots. Again, we're leaning towards more the robot things ever since chapter 10. So I'm thinking it's just not gonna stop there. Foxy, that one guy locked up in Carnival, says, theory, maybe chapter 12 will end like in a final showdown. You versus Mr. P, and in the end, you will have to you have to majority vote, and it will either take him with you or you end up leaving him there with the wreck. Leaving him gives you a bad ending as TSP comes and attacks you, and you stand no chance. Taking him is the good ending, and because TSP would not have the clue to come in, so Mr. P basically has 2 personalities. Okay, this is interesting. TSP and himself at the end of the hospital. I think he left you because he is TSP. State of mind. Big B, you're my favorite YouTuber. I appreciate that. So yeah, are you still thinking that TSP is Mr. P? Interesting. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the video, ladies and gentlemen. So again, if we do, which it seems is going to be going towards this kind of laboratory, Mr. P's lab, I'm pretty sure, do you think we're going to see potions? Do you think we're going to see Doggy? Or, this is going to be the place where we see, like, maybe, who is behind this infection, or if the infection characters are here. Imagine if, like, all the infection characters come back in this chapter and they're going after you. I mean, that would be kind of crazy. But I thank you all so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like and share it. I really look forward to reading your theories and predictions on chapter 12. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.